All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's super critical in the insurance world, but, it's often totally invisible to the rest of us: rate filing compliance. We're going to break down the top 10 software tools that are out there trying to tame this incredibly complex beast.
And this quote, wow, it just nails it, doesn't it? A multi-team, multi-system, regulator-facing operational challenge. This isn't just about filling out some forms. No way. This is a massive operational headache that pulls in different teams, different software, and you've got regulators watching your every move.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with why this is such a big deal in the first place. Then, we'll look at the number one solution, figure out how the required submission system fits in, check out all the other specialized tools on the list, and then wrap it all up with the big picture.
Okay, let's dive right in. What is it that makes rate filing such a nightmare for insurance companies and, for managing general agents, or MGAs?
I mean, it is a perfect storm, really. You've got actuaries deep in these super complex mathematical models for pricing. Meanwhile, the compliance folks are trying to keep track of different rules for all 50 states. And then legal has to put together these huge packages of evidence to back it all up. And all of this is on a super tight deadline, where one tiny mistake, boom, you get rejected and you're back to square one. So much pressure.
Okay, so now that we have a feel for just how chaotic this can be, let's look at the tool that snagged the number one spot. And what's interesting is, it's not just build a software. It's called a complete compliance operations platform.
And that definition is so important. A platform, that means it's more than just a single-purpose tool. Think of it as the central nervous system for the whole operation, the backbone that holds it all together and connects every person in every step in the process.
And this is what end-to-end actually looks like in practice. A platform like Process Street is designed to walk you through the entire lifecycle. It starts with developing the rates, moves through all those tricky reviews and sign-offs with legal and compliance, helps you generate the submission package, and, this is crucial, it creates an automatic audit trail of everything. The whole point is to make sure nothing, and I mean nothing, falls through the cracks.
So what makes it number one? Well, it really boils down to control. We're talking structured workflows you can actually audit, really tight control over document versions, even AI that helps spot compliance red flags before they become a problem. Plus, those automated audit trails for every single action. It's just built from the ground up for this very specific, very complex job.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. The number two spot on the list goes to something called SERFF. And this is a really interesting one, because it's completely different from everything else we're going to talk about. It's crucial, but for a totally different reason.
This comparison here is the key to understanding this whole space. SERFF is not a competitor to a platform like Process Street. It's the required, mandatory system you have to use. I love this analogy. If a platform is the workshop where you build the car, SERFF is the official highway you have to drive it on to get it to the inspection station. One is for getting your internal house in order. The other is for talking to the regulators. You need both.
All right, so we've got the big platform at number one and the mandatory submission portal at number two. The rest of the list, tools 3 through 10, are what our source calls point solutions. They're powerful for sure, but they're highly specialized.
And the workshop analogy works great here too. Think of these next tools as your high-tech, specialized power tools. Your laser-guided saw or your super-powered drill. They are amazing at one specific job, but you still need the workbench, the platform, to organize the project and make sure all the pieces fit together.
Okay, let's look at our first group of these specialized tools. We've got Clarion Door, Guidewire, and Duck Creek. These are the rating engines. You could call them the math geniuses of the bunch. They are brilliant at handling all the complex calculations behind the rates. But, and this is a big but, their focus is super narrow. They're masters of the math, but they don't manage the compliance reviews, the approvals, or the documentation process that has to happen around that math. This next group is all about the core systems. You've got Milliman Integrate, which is fantastic for the actuaries and governing their models. Then there's OneShield, which has workflows built right into the main policy system. So their big strength is that they're already part of the central plumbing of the insurance company. The limitation, though, they aren't specifically built to handle that messy, cross-team compliance and audit workflow we've been talking about.
And our last group of specialists is all about content and intelligence. Think of Wolters Kluwer as your go-to regulatory encyclopedia. It has all the rules. Risk Genius is the AI expert that reads your policy documents for you looking for issues. And FormCycle is a pro at just managing forms and documents. See a pattern here?
Each one is vital, but they provide the what, the rules, the content. They don't provide the how, the actual workflow to get the filing done.
So we've walked through this whole landscape, right? From the big platform to all these different specialized tools. What's the main idea we should walk away with?
This quote just says it all. The point of all this is to replace messy email chains, Excel trackers, and siloed departmental workflows. I mean, who doesn't want to get rid of that? The goal is to get to a single place where everything is organized, consistent, and totally ready for the regulators.
And that right there is the central theme. It's the difference between having a patchwork of individual tools versus having a single, unified operational backbone. The point solutions are great, they're valuable, but the biggest leap forward in making things more efficient and less risky, that comes from the system that connects them all.
And that really leaves us with one big question to think about for anyone in this world. When you look at how you do things, is your compliance process a truly unified system, or is it more of a patchwork quilt of different tools all stitched together with emails and spreadsheets? Thinking about that can tell you a whole lot.